All right, so our the fifth round that we played the two mans, the guy was not playing a real deck. So I may put a little clip of the first couple of turns of that I recorded. I may put that up on the end, probably on the end of this video. It's just kind of like an Easter egg or whatever. Uh, but it was like, yeah, I don't think it was really worth posting. It was a 2 game massacre of somebody who had a like 75 card deck. So the the quality of competition in the two mans is like it just seemed incredibly low. Um, so, and I did want to get a match against Marvel because I do think that a lot of people overestimate how good the blue control versus Marvel matchup is. Like, it's good and you're favored, but you definitely can lose. So I went back and I found a video from a PTQ that I played in, where I played against Marvel. I didn't really watch any of it. I just saw that he played a Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot. So I'm not sure. I'll probably remember it as we go along, but I'll try to walk you through what I'm thinking as I'm watching, because I'm kind of watching again too. I don't know exactly what happens. So it looks like we win the die roll. I'm sure that we chose to play first. Probably mulligan this hand. This hand's pretty bad. This looks like a surefire keep. He's on 7. Pink Filters is a close one. I wouldn't be shocked with either decision that I made. I think that if I was going to make this decision right now, well, it's tough for me to forget that he's playing Marvel, but it is good against Marvel. It's bad against Beatdown. Yeah, I'm not sure what I would do. Like, yeah, like I said, it's hard for me to unbias that I know that he's playing Marvel. But like, my intuition is that I topped it. I guess we'll see what I did. Uh, we'll see what I did on the first draw step. I'm not gonna bring up the chat or anything. And as soon as we see Game Trail, we're either happy that we bottomed Painful Truths or we're sad that we bottomed Painful Truths. And it looks like we're sad that we bottomed Painful Truths. This turn, nothing special going on. Definitely leave up Hardness Lightning. Being on the play here is... On the play, Painful Truths is so much better against this deck than it is on the draw, because they don't have anything threatening at 3. Like, a lot of times they just don't have anything at 3. We just get to jam Painful Truths here and not feel bad about it at all. Just do better than undo the mulligan. We're at 7 cards on the play now. And this hand is great too. That was really good Painful Truths. Drew a counterspell and a Gear Hulk. Looks like he's Naya Marvel. All the Woodweaver's Puzzle Knots in the world don't actually matter. Jeez, does it really do it like that? Alright, so he plays Servant. I don't think it makes any sense to cast a removal spell on that. We get a cast Glimmer here. I'll be pretty upset with myself if I didn't do that. Alright, it looks like I did. And we see Void Shatter Sunken Hollow. Well, the Void Shatter's going in hand. The Sunken Hollow, you could make a case for top or bottom. Probably bottom, I think, is better. It looks like we did bottom it. We drew Negate, and then we drew Confirm. Now, yeah, I was going to say, I'll probably fire off a removal spell here just so I don't discard a hand size. I'm still holding up Void Shatter. It's possible that it was even right to Disintegration that and leave up only Negate. Or to Harness Lightning that and then play and then play Spire Bluff Canal and hold up only negate. So he traverses, plays his lands. Yeah, there's just our hand is just incredible here. So this is likely a Planeswalker or a Marvel. Either way, probably just firing off. Well, maybe confirm. Yeah, firing off confirm. I forgot we had confirm in hand. So yeah, just in an unbelievable spot here. More tunes. There's no reason to negate this kind of stuff. I don't think very often. He's got another Nahiri. Before I click through, I'll decide what I think that I would do now. Let's see. So if we play the Gear Hulk and get to confirm, we get to do that, but it's the only thing that we get to do. If we play Void Shatter, or if we play Negate, then we get to crack 2 clues. I think that as of right now, I would just play the Gear Hulk and confirm it, but I don't think it's too wrong to do any of this stuff. And it looks like that's what I chose to do in this instance as well. And yep. You get a counter off, get a bunch of more clues. And now we're just passing with a ton of mana and a ton of counter spells and a ton of free cards. It's just 2 mana for a card. With that effect 6 times over. Yeah, probably negate this. Just because we were so far up on cards, all we really need to do is trade resources now. I'm not sure if I did, and this is the type of thing that I miss sometimes. I should definitely crack a clue before reacting to this. I'll be kind of proud of myself if I did. Oh, it looks like I did too. Yeah, that's a smart play. Just because if I drew like negate, I would much rather negate that than shatter it. Oh, it looks like I just let it happen too. I don't think I like that. I think I would like to just keep the pressure on there. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean it's not super unreasonable, but yeah, I don't like that. I wish that I had void shattered the second harness lightning. I don't know. I think it'd be better if I was just like was attacking him while I had all this gas. So drew Glimmer, great draw. Glimmer is basically every turn of every game. All you want to draw in this deck is Glimmer and Painful Truths. I would play like 7 Glimmers if they let me. I mean, so I'm like kind of nitpicking the previous turn or whatever, but this game is I can't imagine what it would take for us to lose this game from here. We're just up so many. I mean, we're up like 12 cards at this point. Like, we could actually count. I want to know. So, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. And then these are basically not cards. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have 9 lands in play. So, that's 9, 13... 19. Yeah, so we're just up 11 cards in this game. So like these minute things, like whether or not to keep the Gear Hulk alive, those don't matter that much. Like basically we just need to make sure that we're trading our cards off now. Are we glimmering in response? I guess void shattering before glimmering is fine. I mean it's wrong. It's wrong. That's not the right play. The right play is to glimmer. Because if you glimmer into negate, like I would bottom negate, but if I end up with having bottom something else and drawing negate, I would much rather cast negate. So yeah, we're just sacking clues now. Drew Gear Hulk. That's it. if I'm not protecting this Gear Hulk, I actually think that that's pretty bad. That's just spewing, because they can eventually get to Ulamog, and I only have one. I only have one summary dismissal, so you do really want to close the door against them. Probably just hitting Glimmer here. Yeah, there's nothing but Glimmer to hit, so did that. This is almost certainly just bottom. Yeah, and I did hit the summary dismissal, which I don't think there's really any possible way to lose at this point. I mean, I guess it's probably possible. Firing off main phase anticipate, I do like. Find a land. It's just one last card that I have to discard a hand size. Looks like he chose to respond with a puzzle knot. No big. Oh, maybe this is... I guess this is an older version of this deck, too, because I have Galvanic Bombardment. Which I did play. I mean, we're just gonna push through that. I think that's fine. So basically, this older version of the deck had a couple less counter spells and Galvanic Bombardment instead. The 2-mana counters, I think in the version that I ran that had Bombardment for the longest had 2 negates, 4 bombardments, and 3 anticipates. And I believe only 2 disintegrations was the one that I ran for the longest time. I'm not sure what... I mean, this deck has changed like a lot of times. But, I mean, I think it's fine. Because basically what... We're seeing me just mopping this game up. And this card is 100% getting boarded out for the rest of the match, so I'm fine with continuing from here. So take a land, like I was talking about. Just want to, and Evolving Wilds is pretty bad because the bottom of my deck is garbage right now. I've bottomed enough stuff that between Anticipates and Glimmers, that the bottom of my deck is just chaff. There's like 9 cards on the bottom of my deck that I didn't want. So, looks like he's going to play Chandra. I just let him have that, which I do like. It doesn't make sense to counterspell that. I'm just going to eat it with the Gear Hulk. This is just 4 mana, deal 2 damage, and gain 5 life or whatever. Prevent 1 attack. This just does nothing. And he's not even using it for the 2 damage. He's casting, or he's just sacking a puzzle knot. Yeah, that Chandra does nothing. I don't want to trade a card for that. And sacking a land makes sense here. Just want to hit, or sacking a clue makes sense. Want to hit a land. I'm not sure about sacking the second clue. I don't love that. I'm just going to be discarding. I guess at this point, like, I'm never firing off that Painful Truths or like all of these removal spells. So, but once I hit the land, I don't love that. So it looks like discard Harness Lightning and Painful Truths, which is the 2 that I would expect to discard. I would have preferred it had I just discarded the 1 Harness Lightning. Marvel, probably just negate. Yeah, it looks like that's what I did. Yeah, this is mostly just mop up at this point. I guess I decided to top a Harness Lightning there. It's probably not the best play, but like I said, we're up. I mean, we're up. I mean, we might legitimately be up 20 cards by this point. And I am glad that I'm protecting this Gear Hulk now. I'm up so many cards that I just need to close. He has another Marvel. Hopefully I Glimmer in response to this. Because the summary dismissal actually does have like pretty significant value. Looks like I didn't. That's a bad play. That's a mistake. Maybe that's something that I need to make a point of working on in the future, because that's just downright a mistake. There's no reason to do that. Like, imagine if just the top card of my deck was Void Shatter or whatever, and then he draws Emrakul. Like, that's one way that this game could get away. And it looks like I would have hit a negate too had I looked for it. So yeah, that's definitely bad. Void Shatter's fine here, but it's not an answer to Emrakul, which is, yeah, this is a punt. And honestly, at this point, after that, I actually really could lose this game. I don't know what the outcome of this game is, but I really could lose this game now, because that's a bad play. Can we open this? It looks like we can. So I'd like to see what his vessel was. Now that the game became interesting because of my horrendous play error. Oh, was that was it? And he chose nothing? That doesn't make sense. No, he chose something. I must have something mixed up, or Moto has just bricked it. He might have a Marvel in his hand. There was a Marvel in the last 4 cards of that pile. So there's a pretty good chance he has a Marvel in his hand. Emrakul is really, like, that's a way for me to lose since I speed off this summary dismissal. So that's what we're going to be avoiding. We really could just easily die to Emrakul here. I mean, there'd have to be... It would take more than that, because all the Emrakul does is trade for the Disintegration, the Gear Hulk, and the Void Shatter, and we're still way ahead in that world. But, and he does find an Emrakul, so that is what's going to happen. This is a mistake, too, because there's additional Gear Hulks in my deck that I could get this summary dismissal. So firing off Void Shatter on this is also a mistake. We'll see if it comes back to bite me. I mean, I don't love the way that I've played this game, for sure. It looks like I realized that it was a mistake right away as I glimmer with the Emrakul trigger on the stack, knowing that if I find a Gear Hulk, I'm going to have... Like, yeah, I do like the way that I'm kind of recovering from this, though, because if I find a Gear Hulk, I mean, at least this is what I am probably thinking, is that if I find a Gear Hulk, I can at least still counter the trigger, which is going to be devastating. So, and I anticipate, hopefully I fire off this... Oh, I took Spire Bluff Canal. Okay, well, I'm not sure where my line of thinking was here, but I do not like it. I definitely could have played... I mean, I could have just had a Void Shatter in my hand and not gotten Emrakuled. So I'm like a little bit rooting for myself to lose this game now. Yeah, so I guess I leave him with nothing to do with the Emrakul turn, but also I've got nothing to do. Oh, wait, was that him? Oh, that was him Emrakuling me. Yeah, so he played the Anticipate, it looks like. It looks like he played the Anticipate. So... Here's Ishkana, that's a must counter. Drew a Galvanic Bombardment. I might get decked. I'm at 14 cards. And there's another Emrakul. So I did end up losing this game. I assume I did. Yeah, I definitely snatched defeat from the jaws of the victory in that one. So we lost this one, and deservedly so. But at the same time, it's good to look back and learn from that kind of stuff. So we'll I'm gonna pause the video, get to the next match. Well, no, not the next. I'm gonna get to the next game. Next game in this same match. Get these bombardments out. Get back to a deck that looks like our sideboarded deck from the one that I did the video on. All right, so game 2 here. Hopefully we tightened our play up a little bit and. This hand against Marvel is really close. It's got 1,000,000 lands, but 1,000,000 lands is not bad. And Summary Dismissal is the best card in the deck versus Marvel. I'm not sure. I think I'm inclined to mulligan this. But I don't think it's unreasonable to keep either. Having 1,000,000 lands is really not that bad against Marvel. I mean, it's not great, but this is probably pretty similar to the quality of our average 6. So we'll see. I did mulligan into a hand that's probably a little better than the previous one. So Scry 1 confirms suspicions. That needs to go to the bottom. Early turns, nothing special generally in the Marvel matchups. The biggest thing is just being careful about not tapping out when they can cast a 4. Oh, I topped the confirmed suspicions? Ugh. I do not like that either. I'm not a huge fan of the way that I played this. This needed to get bottomed for sure. Yeah. This almost makes me feel like it was a misclick. I can't believe that I would leave a 5-drop on top with 2 lands in play and 1 draw step to hit. So it looks like he's got Tracker in post board. We did hit a land, which is exactly what we needed to hit. Ooh, he played a land and then played Tracker? Well, I don't really understand why he would do that. I mean, that's not even approaching the misery of some of the plays that we've made in this game. We're pretty far behind in this game, too. Probably going to end up discarding this confirmed suspicions now. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Again, I really do almost wonder if that was a misclick, because that doesn't make sense to even me on my worst day. I don't think I'm making that play very often. Luckily, he has Marvel here instead of Nahiri or Chandra, so we actually can counter, which we need to do. And then we need to find an answer to Tracker pretty swiftly here. Yeah, Evolving Wild's the only thing that makes sense. I guess I stacked on Upkeep. Doesn't really... I mean, probably technically that's not right, but it doesn't... I'm fine with it. In comparison to some of the other stuff that we've done that was really bad, that was fine. So it looks like he has no play, so he'd fire off Glimmer. Probably looking for Radiant Flames. There's also a chance that in this matchup I didn't sideboard in the way that I have been recently, where I'm more boarding in a way to minimize the damage of an Emrakul hit, of an Emrakul trigger. So I haven't been leaving in spot removal. But that's more recent. And this PTQ was like 3 weeks ago or something, maybe a month ago. So I don't remember if at that time I I was still doing that or not. Looks like here I decided to go for Gear Hulk and confirm this vessel. I don't hate that. Uh, this is a fine way to get back into the game, and it seems really unlikely to me that he has a land here to play a 4-drop, because he's missed a few land drops now, and he probably would have just played Vessel if he had it before this. So his draw step was probably Vessel. I mean, if he's like running some sick game or whatever where he's got it all figured out and I got nothing figured out, then good on him. But I think that's a totally fine play. I'm kind of behind the 8 ball here. This Harness Lightning's a fantastic draw. I still need to find an answer though to Servant, and my opponent's hand is just stacked. This is a really good hand. Probably the card that I'd be most inclined to take would be Sigarda. Emrakul is also totally reasonable. I wouldn't be too happy if I took anything other than one of those. Let's see what I did take. It looks like it took Sigarda, which I agree with past me on that. I think that was the card to take. So this is hand. Yeah, I was gonna say I hope to main phase the Harness Lightning, kill the tracker now. Don't give him a chance to get a clue or to just make me spend excess energy. This is one deck where extra energy is actually not bad against them. But yeah, we're looking like we're in pretty poor shape for this game. Yep, sacking clues. Anticipates, fine draw. Harness Lightning is an answer to the Servant. So it looks like this is more my older sideboarding strategy, where I try to pick off the dorks one at a time. Recently I've been more about just like leaving one Radiant Flames as my only removal, and then just countering everything, and that's been working pretty well for me, I'd say. Just because you just don't get blown out by Emrakul nearly as hard. So it looks like he's just sacking a clue here. So he took Nahiri. So he's got Marvel, Emrakul. Basically can't put down the Void Shatter Shields ever again. Yeah, and just honestly, we're not in great shape this game. We're not in terrible shape. Like, we have a million cards, but we're about to get Emrakul, and I guess he doesn't it doesn't do anything. So he's got World Breaker instead. World Breaker is fine. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely void shattering it, but it's not changing too much. He's picking up this land, which is, I mean, that's good. That's one of the better things that he could do, but I don't think we're losing to it. Looks like I decided to sack Clue over Anticipate. That's reasonable. I think I'd prefer the Anticipate, but it's fine to sack Clue too, I think. So he goes for Marvel, negate it. That's completely straightforward. Glimmer. I think it's correct to top here. I don't know what I did, but yeah, it looks like that's what I did. They're on Evolving Wilds. I I guess this game I haven't been paying too close of attention to what's on bottom of my deck, whether or not it makes sense to break this Evolving Wilds or not. So opponent's pretty likely to be going for Emrakul here. This time I am fine with Void Shattering this, and it looks like this time I decided to go for Glimmer first. I actually am fine with just Void Shattering this and letting him take my turn. I would rather have a... Yeah, this Summary Dismissal, I guess it's fine. And this is what I should have done the last game. But this game, the Emrakul turn is not really even that good. Like, he's just gonna, like, make me effectively just discard this Evolving Wilds and turn this Anticipate into a land. Which, you know, that doesn't do anything. So, I think I'd have been fine with just Void Shattering this, and then... I mean, I might have still Glimmered in response. But now, the problem with that is that then you see the Summary Dismissal. You gotta bottom this. So... Which I guess you gotta bottom it if you see it at end step anyhow, but... Unless you'd prefer it to be in your graveyard as opposed to just having another card in hand. So I'm sure that I topped the Dismissal and then cast it here, which is still, I mean, it is getting like kind of tricky to do anything other than Glimmer into Summary Dismissal. Looks like I sacked the land here. Again, I wasn't really paying too much attention. Like this, at this point, I'm not paying too much attention to what I had on the bottom of my deck way back then. Hopefully I was at the time, but I've also missed a few things in this match, so... oh yeah, I used to have Epiphany of the Drown Yard in my sideboard too, which is kind of a blowout sometimes. It's kind of good against Marvel, but I don't love it, and I think that in this spot, like this is actually a pretty good example of why I don't love it. Like, this is exactly the time when you would want to draw Epiphany at the Drown Yard, and I think it's still right to just take Torrential Gearhulk. I don't know what I did, but I think it's still right to just take Torrential Gearhulk here, yeah. And this is like a perfect spot for this, but you'd much rather just have a 5/6 start closing the door on him. I didn't cast it there. Did I have the mana? No, I just didn't have the mana. Alright. Yeah, this game is probably pretty out of hand at this point. Probably not really very realistic to lose. So we get to dismissal this, which I assume is what I do. I guess there's like some possibility that you could just confirm it, and then because black mana is not a huge deal post board against Marvel. But I mean, hey, if he has another Ulamog here, then we're pretty much back to parity. I'm still a little ahead, but the board's at parity. Emrakul does not really do anything here. Assuming that I don't top deck something to kill Gearhulk, that just one for ones with rejection, which is what happens. And then I get to take the Emrakul turn. Tag him for 5. Yeah, anticipating main phase here is fine. I'm not sure I love Void Shatter. Oh, I'm at 2. Never mind. I love Void Shatter over... Painful Truths would have been a mistake. Yeah, I mean, if I was at 4, I probably would have taken the Painful Truths and... Yeah, this is definitely getting out of hand now. Again, if he just rips Ulamog off the top, we could we're pretty much back at some level of parity. I mean, we're ahead because we have a bunch of counter spells, but we're not winning on board anymore, and it gives him time to continue to draw Ulamogs. All right, looks like our opponent decided to scoop him up because he was dead to the Skier Hulk at 1 life. So that game, I think I played a bit better. I mean, it would have almost had to have been better than game one. Game one clearly was not. I mean, for the most part, I played fine, but there was the one turn where I needed to glimmer. I needed to glimmer before I cast my counterspell, and I didn't, and that basically just drove the game off a cliff. I just lost just exactly because I didn't do that, and there was no reason not to do it. So, but that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these videos is so that I have a reason to find stuff like that. I mean that's a bad play that I probably wouldn't have seen that I'd made that mistake had I not been doing this video. So pretty glad to find that little nugget there of a mistake that I can make sure that I don't make again. I mean, there's a reasonable chance that at the time I didn't even realize how bad it was, and that. But I mean, it clearly just threw this game off a cliff. Not this game, the previous game. So this game, I think we played pretty decent. There was a few things that I probably would have done differently in hindsight. Definitely the confirmed suspicions on top was like that. That's weird. I probably misclicked that. I can't imagine me leaving a 5-drop on top when I'm on the play and have a 2-lander. But I mean, maybe there was just something weird going through my head at that point, and I decided to do it. But either way, that was bad. But for the most part, the rest of the stuff seemed pretty good, and this is really how we want these matchups to play out. This matchup to play out post board, where we just counter everything that they do. We stabilize at low life. Normally we'd like it to be a little higher than 2, but stabilize at low life and then close the door before they get too far off on Eldrazi. So pause the video, get back for game 3 of this match. All right, it's game 3 versus Marvel, and we're certainly on the draw here. This hand's a mulligan. Blue. I do kind of like these like Painful Truths hands. Normally 3 is just too many, but I normally do like the 2 Painful Truths hands against Marvel. But with only blue mana, this is a mulligan. And we mulligan into a total brick. Oh, this hand is horrendous. This is a 1-lander at 6 that you actually could really consider mulliganing. This hand has nothing going on. It has to draw running blue mana sources to be in the game. I mean, 5 is horrendous too, though. It's a little better to be low on cards against Marvel because it's not as much about attrition. It's just about making sure that their key couple of spells don't resolve. But this is really a spot that you don't want to be in, especially this was pretty deep in the PTQ. Also, if the Moto log or whatever is right, this is round 6, and it looked like I was 4-1 at the time. So this is not the kind of hand that you want to be seeing in a big spot in game 3. I'm not sure what I did. I think if it was here today, I think I would grudgingly keep this. on the draw and just pray that there was two Spire Bluff Canals and then a Painful Truths on the top of my deck. But a mulligan I think is fine too, but that's a bad hand. Yeah, all right. Well, we mulligan and we mulligan to. I mean, this is probably one of the best fives in our deck. We can't answer Marvel, but it's also pretty hard for them to just slam Marvel on 4. People don't really do that very often. And, like, in general, you're going to lose more slamming Marvel on 4 against control decks than you're going to win. But this hand is pretty susceptible to almost anything. That negate is a phenomenal draw. Negate was maybe the best draw in our deck there. Yeah, just anticipating a response to this because whatever. Just keeping a big part of playing control decks in tournaments is keeping your time high. Yeah, this hand has developed very nicely on 5. We've basically drawn a perfect card every turn. Opponent's second puzzle knots. Yeah, like, this is kind of what I meant about mulligans not being as big of a deal. Like, they play these puzzle knots. Like, this is a mulligan. You know, like, if you can keep Marvel off the board, this is just a straight mulligan. This card does nothing if you keep Marvel off the board. So, your mulligans don't matter quite as much, but when you're playing a deck that expects to be up on cards all the time, mulliganing to 5 is, like, really bad. But in this situation, we developed really nicely, and those are 2 great cards to see. I was going to say, I can't imagine I bottom either of those. Yeah, probably just fire off Painful Truths here. The thing is, he can't get Delirium for Ishkana, and it seems like I do have spot removal in my deck. If I didn't have spot removal in my deck, it'd be different. But I'd probably still just cast it. Ishkana without Delirium, like, people were pretty reluctant to cast, and it's also just not that good. Like, I'm probably not going to die to an Ishkana that's just a 3/5. So it looks like I did fire off Painful Truths. And he's just going to sack this puzzle knot in response or whatever. I'm going to have to discard a hand size here, but I think that's totally fine. I'm happy with the situation where I'm discarding a hand size after mulliganing to 5. The discard here, it's between, let me think, there was 2 lands on the Anticipate, and we kept both off of the Glimmer. So the Evolving Wilds doesn't thin. It basically gives the top, 42 cards of our deck 1 more land. So I think the discard is between Evolving Wilds, Painful Truths, and a negate. I would probably right now discard Evolving Wilds, but I think any of those 3 are reasonable. Harness Lightning, maybe. Alright, so it looks like I discarded Evolving Wilds there too. Feeling pretty good about my spot though. Now we're just making land drops with a bunch of counter spells in hand. This actually turned out really nicely. So he's got Tracker, fine with that. And he's not even going to get a clue off of it, which I'm even more fine with. I would have been totally cool with it if he got a clue off of it too. So now we need to cast 1 more spell before we can fire off this next Painful Truths without discarding the hand size, and that will be true as long as we continue to draw lands. Yep, no reason to do anything still. He's building his way up to Eldrazi, but we have 2 summary dismissals. He's not. It's going to be a long time before he can resolve anything that's good. And as long as he's doing nothing, these lands that we're drawing every turn are just the perfect cards. And as soon as he does something, yeah. So now we get to fire off Harness Lightning and then untap and Painful Truths back up to 7 cards. which I assume we do. Yeah, it looks like we do. And if we miss on land, we'll discard a hand size, but we didn't. Probably just fire off Transgress here. It's also fine to wait till next turn, but I'll probably just take the Emrakul. Well, yeah, you gotta take the Emrakul. Because the thing is, if you get you can just cast Summary Dismissal. Like, you don't need something to be on the stack to cast Summary Dismissal. So if they Emrakul you, you have to cast Summary Dismissal on it. You know, like the Emrakul trigger when you have a handful of counter spells is worse than the Ulamog trigger when you have a handful of counter spells. But the Emrakul trigger does take out Summary Dismissal itself. It does remove all your Summary Dismissals because they just cast them. So probably take Emrakul here. Hopefully that's what I did. Let's see. That is what I did. It's a good call. And then if he draws, he needs one land now. He's got a Sigarda. Yeah, I guess I have to dismissal that, which is pretty unfortunate, but can't let. I've actually lost to that card a couple times. That card's it's actually good against the way that I bore it in this matchup. Main phasing Anticipate is totally fine here. We got a million mana. We can cast every spell in our hand, I think. I guess we couldn't cast all 3 negates. So he plays Chandra, easy negate. No reason to use a better counterspell on that. Glimmer's a great draw. Yeah, firing off Glimmer here main phase is fine too. Hold on a second. I need to get this. I gotta adjust the screen. Alright, there we go. Yeah. Firing off this Glimmer main phase fine too. Probably take Epiphany here. I guess I bought them both, which is that's fine with me too. Gear Hulk is really what we're looking for. We need to start closing the door because we can hold off the Eldrazi for like a very long time, but we actually can't hold them off like for the entirety of our deck. We only have access to 4 Summary Dismissals total, and eventually they will. The Eldrazi do have like the purest inevitability in this matchup. If the game goes like actually until both players are close to decking, the Eldrazi do take over. It's happened to me like many times. That's most of the time how you lose these. Other times they just have like, you know, they have more marvels and you have counter spells, and you know that just gets there. Yeah, glad to protect this here, especially since we have 8 cards in hand. If he has another one, still glad to protect it. Hopefully, yeah. Glad I did that as well. Yep, and just tag him for 5, start the clock. You know, it's not a great clock, but our hand is incredible here. Looks like he drew his land for Ulamog. And this is just the easiest Summary Dismissal in the history. And it's if he has another Summary Dismissal, then, or if he has another Ulamog, that's pretty good. Emrakul actually doesn't really do anything here. Yeah, because we just Harness Lightning the Gear Hulk for 0 and then rejection this. And then basically, it only goes poorly if we draw a Gear Hulk or a... Yeah, Transgress is pretty good. That does get us... It does turn it into a 3-for-1. But we're still ahead. So... And we just immediately rip another Void Shatter, which is awesome. Void Shatter after Void Shatter, yeah. Void Shatter and Gear Hulk and Glimmer are the cards that we want to be drawing here. Painful Truths be great as well. This looks like another Emerald Cool. We just Void Shatter this. This, again, is just doing nothing. And a Gear Hulk is as much as sewing this game up. I don't love firing that off there. Whoa, what? I got picked Harness. Oh, he's on the Emrakul trigger. This is the Emrakul turn. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so this makes sense. That's a pretty unfortunate thing for him to have drawn there, but that's still fine. We're still in pretty good shape. And Glimmer, yeah, we're just running higher than the sun, it looks like, in game 3 here. That Painful Truth is excellent. Another Glimmer is excellent. Alright. And Confirmed Suspicions pretty much sews the game up. I don't know what he really could draw. I guess we could time out. That's a possible way to lose. Yeah, just firing anything that makes sense. Because we have more counter spells than he has draws. When you get to that point, you should basically just fire off a counter spell on anything that they cast that has any impact on the clock or the game whatsoever. Yeah, anticipating here, taking a Gear Hulk. Yeah, that'll do it. Now even Ulamog's not an out. We're just going to kill him even if he rips Ulamog. Yep, and Gear Hulk and that makes a ton of sense to me. Alright, so it looks like we tightened up our game quite a bit in the second and third games. And really, we didn't play horrendously in game 1. We just made one mistake that was pretty bad and ended up losing us the game. But I hope you guys can see that this is not this is not a matchup that you just win because you have Void Shatter in your deck. Like, you do still have to play well, and you do still have to draw well, and they do have some draws that just win them the game. So I guess that'll about do it for this video. I'm glad you guys decided to stick around and watch. And yeah, if you got any comments, you want to talk about any of the plays or talk about the deck or the design or any of the keeper mulls or anything like that, just post in the comments. I'll keep an eye on them for the next couple days. And yeah, it'd be great to get whatever feedback you guys got, because yeah, it's feedback is the best way to improve. So be happy to hear from anybody who wants to talk, and I will have another video up for you guys not too long here. So we'll see you next time. Yeah, I gotta make sure to play a little faster this time. I was pretty slow last time, I think. That's kind of unfortunate. What? This might not even make the cut. What is it? Tassel Dromedary. We'll see what he's up to and see if it's actually interesting. I don't know. There's a good chance no one ever hears what I'm talking about now because I'm just crushing someone who has Tassel Dromedary in their deck. All right, he's got a dubious challenge. We're gonna see what happens here. Wait for it. He's got a Stitcher's Graft. It's possible that this dubious challenge actually ends up being like okay for him. Oh, Via Pashiri and Narnam Cobra. Well, it's two creatures that have green activated abilities. I guess I'm gonna take the Narnam Cobra.